here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have the Canadian Zurich player representing Shopify Rebellion. Oh, it is Scarlett. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have her opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Onside Gaming. It is Ryung. The Tuna Terran himself. Again, Australia is still waiting for his next series, for his next chance at qualifying for the main event. He still has another opportunity, so do not fret. Oh my god. As Ryung did fall to Creator earlier, and he has a chance at redemption here. I will open up the predictions. You have 2 minutes. 2 minutes upon hearing this message to place your bets in the chat for who you think is going to qualify here between these two players. Will it be Scarlett or Ryung? Predictions are now open. I believe this is game one. I am just going to double check to make sure. I'm just double checking. Yes, okay, this is game one. All right. So place your bets in the chat. Again, congratulations. I know we didn't get to ruminate over it too much, but congratulations to Ragnarok for taking his series, or for taking down Australia in the end. Was no easy feat, and hey, they went back and forth. At least it wasn't a 3-0. Australia was able to take game one in the end and make a series out of it. And again, Australia still has another chance. Meanwhile, here we are in a ZvT, and a really interesting build here from Ryung. Really interesting. So Ryung is going for a Rax expand, but he skipped his Reaper and he's going Reactor first. On top of that, he put down his Rax further back in his main, which is crazy, by the way. Scarlett is going to be scattered with her Overlord, does confirm the lack of Rax, and she may believe that there's a proxy going on. I'm curious how she reacts here. Ryung goes for an SCV scout, confirms the hatch first, and Scarlett is going to be intentionally delaying her third base. Okay. So the mind games are coming into play. That's basically what's been happening. Okay, but the drone is being sent out now, and Scarlett should be able to expand and take that third without too much issue. Scarlett is just making sure that everything is on the up and up. Link speed is on the way, and we're getting into our openers. Ryung behind this, oh, is going to be lifting up that Rax, looking for the Overlord. Is this going to be the beginning of mech, is the question. Ryung, he's very fond of mech, and he does play it quite often. Not all the time, but like maybe a good 60 or 70% of the time in this matchup. More often than not, is what I would say. We'll see. We'll see if he does embrace the mech here, or if he does go back into bio. As again, because the Rax is being lifted, that means we have a delayed stim, delayed any upgrades on said Rax. Back at home, is this going to be a BC opener? We're going to be going Viking first. We are not. We do have the tech lab on the starport. No add-on swap, as the Rax is busy hunting down this Overlord, and it will get it. Second Rax, oh, let's go. Second Rax is going to be thrown down. And we have a 2-1-1, but a very interesting variation of 2-1-1. Say 2-1-1. I mean, yeah. Really interesting stuff here from Ryung. So he's got 4 Hellions out on the map. He does have a Banshee on the way as well. The Banshee is delayed because of the lack of add-on swap. But this is also a very committed build here from Ryung, as he's laying his third CC by quite a bit. The Hellions, they do dive on in. They do just avoid the Queens. They get into the mineral line as well. There are not enough links to defend. There aren't any links at all. Scarlett was too greedy. The drones, they have to be pulled, and they're getting annihilated. Oof. 12 drones go down for 4 Hellions. Scarlett only had 4 lings. That was already an insane amount of damage. We do have a spore on the way here towards that third base. Additional spores are being thrown down as well. So these Banshees are going to have a harder time doing damage, but yeah, Ryung, he did a great job at just hiding his Hellions. That's really catching Scarlett off guard and getting a lot of damage done. Behind this, we are not going for a 2-base all-in. We're going for the third. Third has been delayed, but it's on the way nonetheless. And yeah, this is just a really interesting setup here. So this Banshee is going to hide the 2-1-1, essentially, in a way. I wonder if Ryung is going to move out without Medivacs. What I mean by that is, typically the power of Stim, by the time Stim hits, we have Medivacs so the Marines can be active on the map. They can, you know, deny creep, they can threaten bases, they can kill queens. You can be active. But because we went Banshee and now we're going Raven behind it, it's like there are no Medivacs to speak of. And it's kind of working out. You know, we've gotten a couple of worker kills, not too many. Thankfully, Scarlett did throw down safety spore crawlers. And yeah, Ryung is just going to be stuck at home. And now we do have the Island Swap. Now we have Medivacs on the way. Getting into our 5-rack setup. Sorry, 6-rack setup. No, sorry, 5. For some reason, I thought the center one was racks. We've been working on 1-1. Tank is on the way as well. Here we go. Yo, a shout out to Australia in the chat. Hopefully everything's okay. Pappy, you're still in the tournament. Hopefully everything is okay. Again, we were casting you. Big fans. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Over in Korea. Shout out to Australia, of course. He is competing in the tournament, and I believe Australia is waiting for the winner of Cyan and Ender, if I'm not mistaken. So wish you the best. Wish you the best. And I hope everything's okay. I hope the raid doesn't mean a forfeit. That's what I'm kind of concerned about. I hope that's not what that means. As I do have that double jump heading towards the main. Scarlett back at home, going towards a more Roach heavy composition. Roaches are busy here at the third. Not quite in position here in the main base. Queen is going to go down. Drones are being targeted as well. 4 workers in total. Not too bad. Ryung is going to be able to evacuate without losing too much. Oh, sorry, my apologies. I just noticed. I fixed it. I was a little bit distracted because of how quickly we jumped into this series, but it is not Ragnarok, it is Ryung. My apologies. Thank you for pointing it out though. I appreciate it. As Roaches are going to be fending Ryung off. 1-1 on the way. Looks like Scarlett isn't going to commit to pure Roach Ravager, as we did have a Bailey Nest finishing up as well. But the push is upon us. Ryung behind this is not getting a fourth he's not getting a 4th CC. He's going up to 8 Raxes. Very committed, essentially 3 base all in from Ryung. No additional gases here at the third. Pure bio is all that Ryung needs. As he's pushing through the center of the map, catches some queens. Ravagers are not ready. Bailing's speed only just now starting. Scarlett was maybe a little bit too greedy, taking up into an infestation pit into Hive against an 8 racks. Ay, ay, ay. Big anti-armor missile as well. As Ryung, he dives on the army. Oh, and a second anti-armor missile. Tanks are slowly leapfrogging forward. And Ryung may just have too much. His Marines are going down, but he has plenty of reinforcements behind this. As he pushes on even closer. Attack will fall to the vials, but this base is being broken. The hatchery will fall. We do have 11 Roach reinforcements trickling on in. But again, the power of the A-Rex. We do see Ryung taking a 4th base behind this, and an armory. He is transitioning. But I don't think he needs to, I'll be honest. It's going to be close. As Ryung wants to make his way into the natural. He's just getting something. Okay. Thank you, Captain Newt. Thank you. And GG gets called. Scarlett being too greedy, and Ryung will take game number 1. GG. Yeah, Ryung quite fond of 8-raxing, especially on Babylon. We saw him do that a couple of days ago against DRG as well, and even against Dark. And again, Scarlett was just a little bit too busy working towards Hive, Infestation Pit, of course delayed Bailing Speed, and delayed Ravages as well, as didn't quite have eyes on the move out until it was a little bit too late. And Ryung does start this off here with a lead. But of course, welcome everyone, welcome. We will be trying to cast Estrella later on. Once the series wraps up, we will do our best to catch Estrella versus his next opponent in that lower qualifying match. But good to hear that he's just getting food. Just getting food. Hope you enjoy, Max, hope you enjoy. Catching up. Just gonna be catching up as we are getting into our next game. As a reminder, this is a best of 5. It is a qualifying match, so we have plenty of opportunities for a more back and forth, whether Scarlett forces the ace match or, you know, depending on however the series goes. I do hope that we do manage to get more of a back and forth, and the last thing I would want is a 3-0 in either direction. And here we go. We're getting into game number 2. This time on a much larger map. This time on Ancient Sister. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ancient Sister. And we have the Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have her opponents. We have the South Korean Terran representing Onside Gaming. It is Ryung, the Tuna Terran himself. And pulling off a very crisp 8 racks. But as a reminder, it wasn't just a crisp 8 racks. It was the lead up to the 8 racks where Ryung was able to get, what was it, 12 worker kills? Maybe more than 12 workers with his Hellion run by. And then was able to maintain map control with the Banshees, was able to hide the follow-up drop as well because it was a Banshee follow-up. Like, Ryung had a lot of twists and turns. There was a lot of complexity to his build in Game 1, which I really did appreciate, kind of working against the norms of what you would typically expect. And he even floated his racks to still go into a 2-on-1 despite having no Marine production for so long. A lot of twists, a lot of turns. I appreciate it. Now we're getting into game number 2. Of course, it even all started with the racks being hidden further back in the main to try to force an overreaction out of Scarlett, and it did even delay the third. But this time, a much more standard setup. We have the racks as a part of a wall. It is going to be a racks expand, and this time we are going Reaper first. We're not skipping it, going Reactor first like the previous game. So things are looking more normal from Ryung, and I'm sure Scarlett is going to be feeling much more comfortable in this game, not just because of the opener, but also because of the map. You know, we are on Ancient Sister in a bit of a larger map. Because of that, we do have a lot more breathing room available as well. It means the Terran can't be anywhere near as aggressive as we saw last time. It's going to be much more difficult to pull off these big 3-base all-ins. Likewise, the bases are more spread out, the center of the map is more wide open, a little bit more easier for Zerg players to engage the Terran army. But before we get to that, we do have the first Reaper. Going to be harassing across the map, looking for a drone kill, does force the Spore. Doesn't get much else. The dance between the Reaper and the Ling have begun. Oh. And with the arrival of the Queen, the Reaper is being forced the hell out of the natural. Meanwhile, behind this, we do have a 1-1 setup, factory after set racks. And on a map like Ancient System, we should be going for... No, never mind. I was going to say a 3rd CC before Starport, but Ryung is going for a 1-1-1. 1 racks, 1 factory, 1 Starport. So once again, just like Game 1, Ryung is delaying his 3rd base. He's going for a much more aggressive opener, which I think is a bold move on Ancient Cistern, more so than the previous map. We mentioned earlier, this is a larger map. It takes longer to move out. Oh my god. And we see what is going on. This is looking like 2-port BC, as that is a 2nd starport behind this. No, okay, we do have a Viking first. We should be seeing a fusion core momentarily from Ryung. And from there, we should be seeing Tech Labs. But we'll see, as we don't have a fusion core yet. Reaper makes its way across the map, looking for more damage, trying to get a read on what's going on, make sure there's no additional gases, trying to make sure that there's no additional tech from Scarlett. First Viking has arrived, and the goal of the Viking is to try to hide the build here for Ryung. Tech labs are on the way. I guess Mass Banshee? Okay, here we go. At this point, there's no fusion core. We do have the add-on swap, and it's not going to be Mass BC. It's going to be Mass Banshee instead. Into mech, of course, from Ryung. Let's go. We mentioned at the start of the series that Ryung, he is one to play different variations of mech. Quite often, more often than not, to be honest. And I did appreciate that he played Bio in Game 1, but here in Game number 2, here we go. We have Cloak and Hyperflight Rotors on the way. The Viking, of course, is dealing with all the Overlords, so Scarlett is having a really hard time scouting. She sees the Hellions, so she has a piece of the puzzle, but she wasn't able to get into the main base. She has no idea what's going on. And she hasn't really seen any tells yet either. 6 Hellions are about to reveal themselves, so Scarlett now knows it's not like a 3cc 2-1-1. She can at least rule that out. But outside of that, like, she's still not really getting too much information. Meanwhile, 3rd CC is finally on the way for Ryung. He's banking up those Banshees, working on more Hellions. After this, we should be seeing additional factories thrown down, as the Viking is still looking for more damage. Only got 1 Overlord. He's looking for another. And there's the next factory. The 2nd and the 3rd factory even. I imagine to get into battle mech. Now Scarlett still hasn't committed to anything. Still just Ling Bane. We have double Evo chambers for 1-1. Oh! Who is it? Oh, there's a little bit of latency going on. I'm checking. I'm good. But it may be another caster, or maybe a player as well. Oh god. As there is quite a bit showing there. Hopefully everything's okay. As the Banshees are moving out. Of course, if there's latency on the player side, they're probably going to pause. As they don't, so I'm sure it's okay. Meanwhile, the Banshees, they do reveal themselves. They dive into the main base. They take down the Queen, and oh, drones are falling. The Queens are trying to keep up, but we need detection. Overseer is on the way, but a lot of Queens are already going down. At the same time, the Hellions, they dive in towards the 3rd base. The Banelings, they're looking for those connections. Alas, they do find some. Yeah, link speed kicks in, and Scarlett is going to be able to hunt down, chase down all of these Hellions. Meanwhile, the Banshees are not done. They rotate over towards the 3rd. Looking for more Queens. They do get 1 more. But Ryung is battered and bruised. He has to back off. And Ryung didn't really find the damage he was looking for. Immediately, Hydrogen and Infestation Bit on the way for Scarlett. For those wondering, Lingbane, Hydra, Viper is typically considered the correct composition to go up against Battle Mech with Banshees. That is what Scarlett is working towards. Looking at the units lost, Ryung, he got 9 drones. He got 2 Queens for 7 Hellions. It is an efficient trade, don't get me wrong, but the surprise factor of these Banshees, they needed to do more. Ryung was looking for more damage. At the moment, he's doing a decent job at clearing up creep, but for the most part, Scarlett, she's recovering. She's rebuilding, resaturating on 4 bases. Hydras are now in production. Hive is on the way. This is still manageable. As I say that, the Banshees are getting another Queen, but again, only 1 Queen. They don't get the Gas Geyser. Ryung is forced back. He is establishing his 3rd base, but I don't think he has the momentum that he really wanted out of this early game, out of this reveal. Meanwhile, he's building up another harassing force. He's got Hellions and Cyclones. He has a Raven as well to just maintain map control and clean up all of this creep. Which again is pretty important here against Scarlett. She's known for her creep thread. So we do force a cancel on the 5th base, containing Scarlett to these 4 bases, which is still enough for Scarlett to, you know, muster up an army, but she does need a 5th. And she's going in, finding another Queen. Up, up! Not quite. Just barely keeping the Banshees alive. Oh my god. Ryung playing with fire. It's backing off. We see the Hellion Cyclone rotating around, coming across a good chunk of these lings. Oof. Good anti-armor as well. Ryung is going to be bullying this army back. Hellions do dive into the mineral line. A bold move that isn't quite going to pay off. The Hellions go down. The Hydras are able to keep up. And Ryung has to be very careful not to overextend. Oof, the Raven goes down. Good pick off here from Scarlett. She's had a hard time spreading creep, but with the death of that Raven, that is going to take a lot of the wind out of the sails here of Ryung. When it comes to map control, as I say that though, we have more Cyclones on the way. We're making 3 at a time. Vipers are now finally on the way as well. They will help deal with the Cyclones as well as those Banshees. But Scarlett was a bit out of position. Drones are going down. She's going to be able to hold on. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, another Queen will fall. But Hydras were left in position. Scarlett is able to hold on to her 5th base. And this was a big point of contention. Is Ryung trying to contain Scarlett to only 4 hatcheries, but a 5th is now finishing up. She has the extra production. She has the extra economy available as well. Vipers are just slowly gathering up that energy. For those wondering, the Vipers, they add so much utility to this army. Not just parasitic bombs on those Banshees, but abductions on the Cyclones. And that's what we're going to be looking for. The Cyclones may be really mobile units, but again, Vipers, they do help with that. Here we go. We're going to be sharking around, zoning away the army. Hive is now done for Scarlett. Well, it's been done for a while, of course. Do manage to yoink one of those Cyclones. We're starting with one. We should be getting more soon. Spire is on the way. We're heading towards a greater Spire. Oh, and there's actually not much to defend this planetary. The Banelings, they could get into the mineral line. Uh-oh. Banshees is not going to be ideal. The Banelings, they do roll on in. The entire mineral line goes down. At the same time, here come those abductions. Banelings roll in, zoning away the Hellions. Scarlett is overextending a little bit. But she has enough momentum. Does push Ryung back. At the same time, the planetary does fall. And now Ryung is hurting. Ryung being contained to only 3 bases is not enough to sustain his mech army. We can see Ryung double expanding, taking top left and bottom right as well. But things are not looking too good here for the Korean Terran. Does have a minefield, which will help. There's a lot of potential in those Widow mines. Vipers are being brought forward as well. Once again, yoinking those Hellions. Sorry, yoinking those Cyclones and a Hellion, to be fair. Barely getting another Cyclone. You can see the Cyclone count being thinned out. And yeah, Scarlett is snowballing out of control. Decent mine shots. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, Scarlett running into reinforcements. She's going to back off, regroup, remax, just gathering up energy on those Vipers once again. They've been getting so much value out of themselves. We haven't been losing the Vipers. That's the most important thing. They've just been gaining value over time. As the Cyclones move in towards the south, fourth base once again is going to be denied. But can Scarlett hold on to her 5th? Looks like she may just barely not have enough. But she may not care because she's busting into the 3rd base as well. Banelings, they do crash in. Not quite onto the SCVs, but into the Cyclones nonetheless. As we do yoink in those Cyclones. GG gets called. Scarlett has too much. got too much momentum and ties up the series 1-1. GG. The 2-port mass Banshee opener of Ryung. Again, we talked about it when it happened. It just really didn't pay off for him. Didn't get as much damage as it needed to. Like, we were banking up to, I think it was 8 Banshees, and they were designed to snowball out of control, kill the queens, kill spores, get more economic damage done, but it really didn't. It really didn't get too much. The Hellions got some workers, yes, but the Banshees, yeah, they were a little bit lackluster, and Scarlett was able to recover, transition into Lingbane Hydra Viper, which again is what you want against this more mobile battle mech style with Banshees. And she was able to shut Ryung down. Oh, GG. GG, well played. Oh, and yeah, with that, we have a series. We have a series. We have a back and forth. We're tied up 1-1. You'd love to see it. I'm catching up with the chat. This build seems so weak. I mean, I mentioned before, it was a rough start for Ryung. Again, it's designed to do more damage early on, but Scarlett was so prepared for it. I say prepared. Her queens were in a really good position, a fortunate position. They were in between her bases. She was able to react in time, made enough queens, had spores prepared. I wouldn't also be surprised if Scarlett is familiar with Ryung and familiar with some of his tendencies as well when it comes to his builds. Always fun to see for Iron Mech. Always, always. I mean, it's better than the alternative. I've said this before. Like, I enjoy watching a more mobile style of mech. It's a little bit more active, a little more action-packed compared to, you know, going Tank Viking, for example, or Tank Thor. Always willing to embrace. But maybe I spoke too soon, because what I just mentioned is pretty good on our next map on Neo Humanity. It's a small map, but a very defensive map, and we have seen Ryung take down players like Raynor before with a slower style of mech on this very map. So I'm concerned. I'm a little bit scared. We may be in for a long one. Here we go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. It is Scarlett. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have her opponents. We have the South Korean Terran representing Onside Gaming. It is Ryung. Here we go. And again, I believe it was during WTL in World Team League, or maybe it was another event. A lot of our casts blend together, but we have seen Ryung, I think it was WTL actually, yeah. We have seen Ryung take down Raynor, take down Dark as well. Ryung may not be the fastest player out there, but he's really good positionally, and something that we've seen him use to great effect on Neo Humanity is take away that disadvantage, take away like the mobility factor of his opponents by slowing the game down, cutting the map in half, and going for a more turtle style of mech, which is very effective on a map like Neo Humanity. But as I bring that up, it looks like that's not what we're getting. We do have a 2-Rax opener here from Ryung, and going from mech from a 2-Rax opener I don't think it's really possible. It's just not really, too efficient. So Ryung going to be shifting gears here, going into a different opener entirely. Again, this is really trendy currently amongst the Terran players in this matchup. Not just the Korean Terrans, but even the European Terrans have been doing this. Players like Clem, Hero Marine, Spirit, they've all been embracing the 2-Rax. They've all been embracing the 2-Rax opener. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. As we have our first couple of Reapers on the way, I'm really curious to see what transition Ryung is going to go for. So, of course, Cure is very fond of going for a 2-Rax into faster TC. Byan is very versatile, and he can go all in with 3 Raxes. He can go for a 4-Rax. He can go for a 2-1-1. Beyond is really unpredictable. Ryung, I haven't seen him do this too often, I'll be honest. I haven't seen him embrace this as much as some of the other Terran players out there, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Ryung brings to the table. But now the first Reaper has arrived, going to be dancing with the Lings. Scarlett does scout the opener with her Overlord, so she's fully aware of what is going on as she takes the linear third base. Oh, we do see Ryung overextending a little bit here. Does take quite a lot of hits on his Reaper. He checks the triangular third, sees no base, and he's rotating over towards the linear third base, and he will get eyes on the third of Scarlett. And this was a very risky, a very greedy third base from Scarlett. With these Reapers, we should be seeing a cancel on this third. We do have a fourth Reaper on the way. Scarlett is looking to try to defend it, but Link Speed has not started for Scarlett. Without Link Speed, it's going to be difficult. She's slowly working on these mineral patches, and yeah, she's looking to take another base. I believe she will be canceling. So again, this was a greedy maneuver, and it will not pay off. Third is cancelled, and just like that, Ryung's opener is worth it. To delay the third base for this long is already a great move here for Ryung. As he didn't just go for 4 Reapers, he went up to 5. My god. He's going to rotate around. He's going to confirm the third, so now he knows that he's not being 2-base all-in. Well, I mean, for the most part, he knows that. He may want to check the main base just in case. But for now, applying a lot of pressure here to this third. Link Speed still such a ways off. Scarlett, interesting choice, a bold move. So typically, when you go up against a 2-rack opener like this, you pull into gas immediately and you prioritize Link Speed. You get it as fast as possible so you can shut down these Reapers. One Reaper does go down. Scarlett was greedy and did delay her her gas production, her gas mining, because that Link Speed is later than normal. And Ryung was able to get a little bit more done with these Reapers, but he does finally back off. He's going to go back home. And now we have our follow-up. It is going to be a 2-1-1. Sorry, it is going to be a 3cc 2-1-1. Very economic. Third CC is already done, morphing into an orbital. And Ryung already has Stim on the way. So he's about to hit the field with an abundance of Marines, of Stim, and Medevacs. Even going for a double eBay behind this. Oh, let's go. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Now, there's a bit of a give and take. Because Ryung stayed on Reaper production a little bit longer, he basically made an extra wave of Reapers. Instead of making 3, he made 5. Because of that, the add-ons are delayed. Because that Stim is a little bit delayed as well. So Ryung is going to be staying at home a little bit longer. Going to have to build up his Marine count for a little bit longer as well, because it has been delayed. And Scarlett has time here to recover. She's going to be saturating her third, getting a fourth, spreading out a lot of the creep, which will give her a lot of breathing room as well. And she's playing this out safe. I appreciate this. She doesn't go for her Evo chambers first. She goes for a lair, into a Bailey nest, into Bailey speed. So a very safe opener from Scarlett, or a safe follow-up. Basically, Scarlett is delaying her upgrades in favor of faster bailing speed to make sure she's safe against any kind of bio-aggression. But here we go, the first double drop is upon us. Ryung is expanding behind this. Stim is done, bear that in mind. Ooh, and this is unscouted. Uh-oh. Marines, they Stim on 4, they focus down the hatchery. Can they get it? It looks like they cannot. Scarlett was nearby with her Ling Bane. She's going to be able to hold on. At the same time, she goes for a bit of a run-by. Doesn't get much damage done, but she does get eyes on the third CC. So she knows, of course, it was an economic follow-up. And the medevacs are stuck. The medevacs are a little bit stuck here in between the bases. Scarlett holds onto her fourth. 1-1 is on the way, and we should see Bailing Speed momentarily. There it is. Bailing Speed also in production as well. God, and that's a lot of damage to those medevacs already. Ay, ay, ay. Ryung, he's got to be careful with that. Does have to be careful. Back at home, oof, a little bit supply blocked. Pretty big supply block, actually, for Ryung, as he's building up his bio army. 1-1 about to kick in. With the armory finishing, Ryung, he can get into 2-2 almost immediately. But for the most part, Scarlett has stabilized, is what I would say. For the most part. Oh, he's looking to catch some of these Reapers. Let's get one. Oh, but Scarlett maybe being a little bit too cavalier with these banelings is not punished. She's able to waddle away. Does escape with those banelings. Now we can see a push being set up here by Ryung. So this push is multi-purpose. The goal here is to not just threaten the 4th base, but also free the drop. Force the queens to react, force the queens out of position, and hopefully get those marines out of there. We're saving Private Ryan, Bobby. Save the marine. Oh god! Medevacs, they do barely manage to make it out. Whew. To the safety of the tanks. Bailing speed is now done. Queens are pushing on forward. And Ryung is leapfrogging forward with his tanks. Is within range. Takes down the queen. At the same time, a Ling Rambai gets cleaned up back at home. 4th CC is on the way. Ryung is not going for a 3-way solo. Not this time. He's not going for an 8 racks. And he's committing to his push. Up! Ooh, a delayed reaction from Ryung. He was not looking. He takes big bailings to the face. Oh, and that was a big mistake there from Ryung. He still has marines behind this, but not as many as he should. He is reinforcing as he does. Lings do go for another run by, another counterattack. There aren't as many reinforcements back at home. Ryung is looking a little bit vulnerable. And here we go. Scarlett is going for her counterattack. Tank is going to go down. Good target firing on the Banelings. The Banelings go down, but there are still so many Lings. With the Medivacs to support, it looks like Ryung will hold across the map. He can focus on his push. God, that's a lot of Ling Bane. Hydras have also hit the field. 1-1 done here for Scarlett. Working on 1-2 with +1 range. And what's important is that despite the fact that this is a really good tank position, Ryung hasn't been able to threaten the 4th. He hasn't really done much damage at all with this push. He's been keeping the creep at bay, yes, but that's kind of it. Meanwhile, Scarlett going for another counterattack. As Ryung does wedge himself behind the Zonaga. Gonna be able to get the hell out of there. And we'll see if he commits or... Okay, he's gonna rotate around. He doesn't want to get caught here in this corridor. He's gonna back off, rotate around towards the right-hand side, where Scarlett is taking another base. Double expanding. Get the 5th as her center, and the 6th on the right-hand side. Ryung is pushing through the center of the map, trying to take his 4th base. We have a massive Ling counterattack. Is going to deny the 4th. Banelings are rolling on in, going to be knocking down that wall. And a late reaction. The SCVs! The mineral line is going to be going down. At the same time, we do see Ryung denying the 6th base of Scarlett, but that's a 6th. She can afford to lose it. Oh my god, big tank shots though. Every Baneling is going to be going down. This is not the best fight for Scarlett, even losing some of those Hydras. Ryung has momentum. He may have lost his economy, but he is up in army supply. Ryung trading well with his double drop. He's getting on top of the center base. His hatchery will go down. And he can keep pushing. I believe there are no Banelings. There's only a handful of them. Here we go. He knows the pressure is on. The tanks are pushing through the center. Scarlett, all she has to do is hold. In a couple of seconds, the Banelings will finish. But even if they do, we have a really good tank spread. Oh, Hydras are going down. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Scarlett. So, really, we need some urgency out of Ryung. And here we go. Scarlett is going to collapse on this position, but the tanks... Up. The Banelings go down. The tanks, they're standing strong for the most part. Do we have enough Marines? It's going to be close. It is close. The Lings go down. There are enough Hydras. I think Scarlett has maybe survived. Takes down the medevac, and yeah, there aren't enough Marines to push on through. We have more reinforcements on the way. How many I want to say 2 tanks were caught on siege for Ryung. He's still trading well, to be fair. But yeah, I want to say when the attack happened, I know there was at least 1 tank that was on siege, maybe a 2nd tank as well. He just wasn't quite ready for it. And now things are looking dire here for the Terran. That was it. That was his moment to win the game. That one push. And now he's down heavily in the economy, down in army supply. He does have 3-3 on the way, and you can see how desperate he is. He's going to be lifting up his main and taking it as his 5th. Sorry, as his 4th. Now, Scarlett isn't in the most amazing position either. She doesn't have the best economy, but it's good enough. Good enough to max from this point. We've got Vipers on the way. Adrenal glands. We have our Hive done, of course. We can rebuild the Ling Bane. We don't want to rest on our laurels because here we go. We have another wave coming in from Ryung. How many tanks do we have? 1 tank. Oh, that's doesn't bode well. 1 tank versus 2 Vipers. Let's go. 1 tank and a dream, Bobby. That's all we need. That is all we need. Copium. As once again, he's setting up for his push. There is still potential, don't get me wrong, with really good, like with a really good spread with his Marines. Could maybe make some magic happen, but we have a massive lane counterattack. 3rd base is not going to get up and running. Yeah, there's no way to deal with this. Ryung, he's all in once again. I mean, he's been all in this entire time. There is no way out of this. And Scarlett at this point is maxed out. Now, Ryung does have an upgrade advantage, so technically he can trade more efficiently. But, with only 2 tanks, there we go. Blinding clouds are thrown down. One of the tanks is just going to be rendered inert. The Ling Bane is rolling on forward. The Banelings are being targeted down. Ryung taking the best fight he can, but we have more Banelings coming in from behind. It's too much. That is the army gone for Ryung. GG gets called. Scarlett takes the lead in this series. GG. Just split copium. True, true. That was pretty close though. Again, like the initial attack from Ryung pushing through the center. I mean, he got a base, he got 2 bases even, dealt with all the Banelings. I do think he maybe took a little bit too long, and it was unfortunate when the one big fight happened that Ryung wasn't quite ready for it. As in, like some of the tanks weren't quite siege in time, wasn't able to have the best fight he could have. And with that, Scarlett is a 1 game away from qualifying for the main event, for the KSL SummerSlam. Meanwhile, the pressure is on Ryung to bring it all back here and to force the ace match. Which personally, I hope that's the case. I would love to see an ace match. I just want to get the most out of these players as I can, but we'll see. It's not up to me. It's up to Ryung. Up to Ryung to fight back. Here we go. Cyclones win the game. True, true. Kappa. Oh, my apologies. Bam. There we go. Just updating the score on screen. Updating the score. As we get into our next game. Potentially the final game. The final game of the series. Cyclone enjoyers unite. Oh, unite while you can. We're getting new Cyclones, Papi. New and improved? Question mark. Oh. Let's go. Does Ryung play mech here? So the next game is gonna be on Royal Blood. Not a bad map for 8-raxing, but he already did that once this series. That's the thing. Like, he's already done an 8-rax once. I don't know if it's the wisest of choices to go for the same build twice in a series. As I say that, that's also why I don't think we're going to be seeing Ferrari mech again. Like, we already saw that. Ferrari mech with Banshees, of course. So we'll see what Ryung brings to the table as we are loading into our next game. New Cyclones? Nani? Yeah, they're changing them. I say changing them. They're giving Terran a new unit and deleting the Cyclone. Ay. Which is really cool, is what I will say. Like, the concept of them being willing to completely, like, from the ground up, like, restructure and change a unit, like, at its core, is exciting to me. Exciting that they're willing to do such a drastic change. That's what I will say about the changes. As we are now getting into our next game, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the Canadian Zerg player, one game away from qualifying for the KSL Summer Slam. The Summer Slam. We have representing Shopify Rebellion, Scarlett. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have her opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Onside Gaming. It is Ryung. Summer Smash. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking of Summer Smash? What is that? Is that a thing? Ay. Apparently it's a hip-hop music festival. There you go. Ay. Here we go. So far, Ryung this time not going for the low ground 2 racks. Going for a regular racks expand. You love to see it. Standard opener out of Ryung. Likewise, hatch gas pool out of Scarlett. So nothing too crazy here in the openers between our two players. SC24, you need to calm down, Bob. You need to calm down. Ay. As we are getting into that Rex expand, so again, nothing too crazy here, which is unfortunate. We at least got to see Ryung go for the 2 racks once, and it wasn't a bad opener. I would have favored definitely Ryung at the start of that last game. Did well for himself, delaying the third as long as he did. But last is going to be reverting to a more old school opener instead. Going to be SCV scouting, just making sure that it is a hatch first. Ryung doesn't want to get caught out with a roach rush or a ling rush. And Scarlett is getting her third on location, on time. Love to see it. Surely he'll avoid making cyclones again. Copium, Bobby, copium. We'll see. And again, this isn't a bad map for 8-raxing. That's the thing. Like, I do think Ryung can find success, as he is going to be going for a very economic opener. We do see a 3rd CC before Starport. So very economic here out of Ryung. Could still be into mech. Don't get me wrong. We could still see additional factories behind this. We don't want to rule it out. As Reaper dips into the main base, doesn't get too much done, gets eyes on the 3rd, and does back off. Behind this, Ryung getting into his starport. And we do have our tech lab on the way, so this is looking like a standard 3cc Banshee opener with an add-on swap. So it's what it looks like, at least. But we'll see what Ryung does go for. If he wants to, we could always go for a faster stim and go for a cyclone, but there it is. There is that add-on swap. So is it going to be for Banshees? So after some wild and intense openers in the previous games, we're calming down. We're returning to normalcy. Going back to standard play. Oh my god. Really cute move out of Ryung there. He attacked his own Reaper to kill the tumor. Feels bad, man. Poor Reaper. I mean, at least it survived, but it was nice. Does get the tumor in the end. Behind this, we're getting into our Banshees, of course, and Scarlett will confirm this. The Overlord dips in, gets eyes on the tech lab on the starport, also sees it researching, so Scarlett will be getting ready with those spores, as well as additional queens. So far, a great scout from Scarlett, going for that lair at 4 minutes 30, standard lair timing, as to be expected. Which again does tell us that Scarlett shouldn't be rushing into Evo chambers and upgrades. There it is. Baneling S is on the way. And by the time the lair finishes, we can go straight into Baneling speed. So once again, a really safe opener out of Scarlett. Hellions are looking to bypass the Queens. The Queens are out of position. Oh, we don't have too many Lings. Uh-oh. We could have gone straight in, but no. It looks like Ryung is going to take a more passive approach. He backs off. Oh. He's a drone enjoyer. Didn't want to roast them up. I appreciate it. Gonna be preserving his Hellion count and just focusing on map control. As Scarlett is making an extra wave of Lings just to be safe. Meanwhile, the Banshees have arrived and the Spores were done. Spores are in every single base, so the Banshees aren't really finding too much damage. But they could find a Queen. Uh-oh. Lost Transfuse, barely going to keep it alive. The Overseer does finish, and a Banshee goes down. Again, not the best trade here from Ryung. Losing a Banshee without getting any damage at all. Forced to transfuse, and that was kind of it. As Ryung is going to be following this up with additional Raxes. We have Stim on the way. It is going to be Bio. And the next question becomes, is Ryung going to saturate his third base? Is he going to take these gases? Is he going to work towards a fourth? Or is he going to go for an A-Rax? That is the real question. Hellions cleaning up a lot of this creep. Again, Ryung has been really disciplined with these Hellions. There have been maybe a couple of opportunities here and there to maybe get into a mineral line, but he hasn't risked it. Has been playing. They're very safe. So he is saturating that third. Taking down a lot of these tumors. And behind the Scarlett is just getting her macro hatchery, just droning up, saturating her 4 bases, working on a 5th towards the left-hand side, and we have Hydras in production as well. A bit of a risky maneuver here. It does mean that Scarlett's going to have less Ling Bane to work with. She has droned up to 80. We do have our push up on us. 1-1 is about to kick in. With the armory finishing, these Hellions can turn into Hellbats. And how many tanks? We have 2 tanks with this push as well. Really good positioning here on the other side of this cliff. Here we go. The Hellions are being kept back just to make sure this army doesn't get surrounded. At the same time, we do have a massive link counterattack. Ryung not quite ready for it. Oh, his Marines are going down. SCVs are falling as well. A beautifully timed counterattack, and Ryung is hurting. 7, 8 SCVs. Ay, ay, ay. The pressure is on Ryung to make some magic happen, to get damage done. Does morph in those Hellbats. Does keep his reinforcements back at home. Scarlett already up to 85 workers. And we don't have enough Marines. We just don't have enough firepower here. Yeah, Scarlett, she can collapse on this army. I mean, again, it's good tank positioning and good Hellbat positioning as well, but there's plenty of Ling Bane, plenty of Hydras. Scarlett completely shuts this down. Oh no! Even taking down the full medevac as well. Behind this, Ryung is attempting to transition. He's got a 4CC on the way. 2-2 as well. But Scarlett is honestly in an amazing position. She's got over... Oh my god, she's got 92, about to be 96 workers. A little bit much, but it's fine. It's fine. She just really wants some money, some economy, okay? But yeah, she's got an amazing economy behind this. Can max out on Ling Bane Hydra. We have an infestation pit to get into Hive Tech. Ryung is doing a good job at keeping the creep at bay, but that's the only thing that Ryung really has right now. Scarlett is now maxed out, and as Ryung is trying to take a 4th base, he may not even be able to hold on to his 3rd. There is a changeling with eyes on all of this. There's only 1 tank in position, 1 Hellbat, a handful of bio units. Again, that Ling counterattack did so much to stifle to stifle Ryung. I almost said Bia. God damn it. Like, it wasn't just economic damage, it was also just cleaning up the reinforcing Marines, keeping them at home as well. Not allowing them to move out. Here we go, the third is under threat. Taking down the wall of depots. Scarlett also pushing in to deny any kind of fourth base, but there is none, not yet. Fourth is now soon to be taken. Scarlett is ready to deny it. That's a lot of banelings. That's a lot of banelings on the way. Scarlett forcing Ryung to react, trying to pull him out of position. Oh, we do have a double drop across the map, to be fair, and Scarlett didn't have anything back at home. Queens are falling, the army has to turn back around. But she will preserve her workers. At the same time, once again, the banelings roll on in. They get into the mineral line. Oh, God. 24 SCVs go down. Oof. And Scarlett just needs to keep doing that. Just rolling in, crippling the economy time and time again. And because of her own worker count, she's in no real danger here of running out of steam. Meanwhile, back at home, Ryung is just attempting to turtle up. He's building up his tank counts. His Marines are in position towards the left, but the tanks are looking a little bit more exposed here on the right. As the Lings are getting on top of said tanks, one tank will go down. Only one. That was a pretty efficient fight from Ryung. Again, this tank line was insane. Pushing into this is not going to be easy, not without Vipers. So, a decent fight, a good start. But this tank line, because of the low supply, doesn't exist on the left-hand side. There's only one tank here on the high ground. And I wonder if Scarlett will identify that. Ultra Caverns on the way, Adrenal Glands. Scarlett looks like she's consolidating her army. And I feel like attacking the fourth is going to be a little bit easier, but Scarlett is rotating over towards the right-hand side. Viper has arrived. We have 2 Vipers in total. Not too bad. The tanks are well spread though, so it's going to take quite a lot of spells here to deal with them. And here we go, the Vipers are pushing on forward. Same with the Ling Bane. Lightning clouds are thrown down. Marines are attempting to engage. So far, again, a decent engagement here from Ryung, but he loses the CC. Once again, honestly, that was a pretty efficient fight from Ryung, but loses the base. He's now stuck on 3 bases. He's not even mining from his 4th. And Scarlett can rebuild, remax. She preserved her Viper count. Is going to be able to regather that energy. And there was no CC to replace the one we just lost. Ryung, he's just stuck long distance mining. Here we go, Scarlett rotates over towards the 4th, gets us around, the planetary is gonna fall. The cracklings, puppy, they cracked. Ryung down to 2 bases, and it was a good effort. It was a good series overall. Even that last game, even on Neo Humanity, we had more of a back and forth. But here, it was just a rough start for Ryung. He was crippled early on, and Scarlett just snowballed out of control. Ryung can maybe survive one more fight. Decent EMP on the Vipers. But once again, the Ling Bane rolls on forward, even from behind as well. We're getting on top of some of the tanks. And even if Ryung holds, he's just losing too much. The Hydra's even going toe-to-toe with the Marines. GG gets called, and Scarlett will take the series. And Scarlett qualifies for the KSL Summer Slam. GG. Ay. Oh, was at least a more back and forth series, and even on some of the games that Scarlett was able to take, Ryung had his moments. Definitely had his moments. So I hope he's not too upset with his performance here. GG. Well played, well played. Congratulations. Congratulations to Scarlett, as we will have a North American representative in the event, which I was concerned by. For those wondering, all the invites for the KSL SummerSlam, obviously they're all Korean. It is, I mean, KSL stands for the Korean StarCraft League, so it makes sense that they would all be Korean. But we have a little bit more diversity or variety here in the players in the main event, with Scarlett repping NA. GG. GG, well played. And we're not done. We are not done. We still have one series left. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. As we can see, the first 2 players to qualify was Ragnarok and Creator. They made it through the upper portion of the bracket, but it's double elimination. We had 2 more slots available. As we scroll down here towards that lower bracket, we do see that Scarlett's qualified over Ryung, and we have 1 series left. Estrella versus Cyan in a PvP. So it may not be Scarlett against, or it won't be a Scarlett versus a sea of Koreans. There's going to be at least another North American player in Estrella, or even a Chinese player in Cyan. As a reminder, it's a PvP, so anything could happen. Anything could happen as we are getting ready for that series, as they are out of game. Is the series over, or are we jumping in?